Hey y'all, what's up? So in this video, I'm going to try out this new palette by Dominique Cosmetics. It's called the Essential Palette. So I'm gonna try this out. I'm unboxing it, I'm trying it, I'm swatching it, and I'm also just gonna have a little bit of chat around syllabus prep. We are after the winter break for academics, getting ready for teaching our new sets of classes. So just talking a little bit about where I am in that process, what are some of the texts that I'm thinking about teaching, and just sort of some of the struggles and challenges of trying to be innovative with your pedagogy, while also trying not to put so much work into teaching and having to reinvent the wheel when you also have to dedicate time to your own research and writing. So I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's get started. So I'm getting ready for a day of errands. I just went and got my fill, my nails done. I got a little cute rose quartz vibe. I have to go get a pedicure in a little bit and find some time to prepare my syllabus. Classes begin on Monday. Today is Wednesday. My son just went back to school today. We had a really nice winter break, but it's time to get onto syllabus mode. I always tell myself every winter break that I'm gonna be on top of it, work on it early, blah, 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 but it's so hard to get into that mode. We really do need a break, and even the few weeks that we have aren't really enough to reset and then get back into that mode. I think especially if you have children who are home as well and you just want to spend that time and you really just want to relax. I did get a decent amount of relaxing in, but we did have visitors come, and that even though it's for me, I really didn't want to travel, so I was happy that people were coming instead of us having to travel to family. But it's also work, I realized. So no matter what, I really need to figure out some way to make the holidays unstressful. So I wanted to get on here to unbox and try out this new Dominique Cosmetics Essential Palette. She is a Latina beauty creator on YouTube, who I've been following for a while, and it's something I guess I'll address in another video, but makeup was something that came to me in a really strong way over the pandemic. And so she was one of the folks who I started to watch and really gravitated towards. But I ordered myself this palette as a sort of Christmas present to myself. Mostly, not only, I've always been wanting to try her eyeshadow. She's like a big eyeshadow girl, and I've seen really good reviews of her previous eyeshadow palettes. But when I do travel for work, bringing eyeshadow palettes along can be really bulky. I usually take my Makeup by Mario palette. It's so loved and beat up. Like, it's literally, the hinges are broken. It is so messed up. But I usually take this one, but it doesn't have any shimmers in it. And so I end up having to take two. I'll take this for matte and I'll take something else for shimmer. And what I like about this palette is that you have a few really great like neutral shades, and then you have shimmers as well. And the shade and shimmer combo, I think, is one that would really work for like when you just need to use one palette, when you need to travel with one palette, that this will work. So I'm excited to try out the quality. And I got it a few weeks ago, but since I've been wanting to develop this channel, I was like, let me wait and make it something that I try out on YouTube while I talk a little bit about syllabus prep. So while my foundation dries, before I do any contouring or blush or highlight, I do my eyeshadow just to allow the foundation to sort of sit and become one with the skin. I'll also go around, this is a Morphe sponge. Oh, it's not my favorite one. The shape is kind of odd, but I tried it out. It's alright. I will go around and just sort of make sure this absorbs and is blended out. I'm doing my makeup on the phone, which I'm not fully used to. Not using a mirror, but using the phone. But there we go. If you do want to know sponges that I do like, I just re-upped on this one yesterday. The Bio Blender from Equal Tools is good. And then Morphe has this highlighting sponge, which is awesome. It has like this line that's really great for like if you want to sort of cut contour and baking, and it has this nice little point that I like to use for you know, putting my concealer. I apply my concealer usually with a sponge. I feel like I get better coverage that way. So that's that. So let's get into this palette. I'm excited. So Dominique is very positive. She likes to send really positive vibes out to her viewers. And so when you open it, it says beauty inside and out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 10 shades here. It's like this really pretty pink packaging. It also says beauty inside and out in the mirror. I will take off this little mirror protector. It's nice that it has this big mirror. And I can't get the sticker off, so I won't spend time on that. I'll take it off later. But you get this big mirror, and you have these like really big pan sizes actually. So this is $50, maybe it's $49, you know, but if you want to compare the Mario to the pan size here, and the cosmetics themselves were made in the US. So we have this sort of mauve shade called Me Amo, I love myself. We have this kind of taupey warm shade called Compassion. We have this sort of off-white shade called Positivity. We have this nice sort of matte rich brown called True Self, and we have this matte black, which we all need for our liner, called Fearless. Then we have Grateful, which is this sort of purpley shimmer, Pretty Kind, Que Linda, which is gold. So that we have this kind of pink gold. We have this kind of bronzy shimmer called Affirmation, and then we have this sort of bronze satin kind of shimmer called Confident. So this I can try swatching on here. So we have Me Amo, which is the mauve shade. Oh, that's pretty. That gives a nice it has a nice finish. And then now I'm going in with Compassion, which was that that kind of taupe warm shade. I like that for just sort of all over the lid and for transition. Let's go in with Positivity, which is our kind of off-white or like bone white type of color. Let's get a little bit more of that. I actually don't mind when eyeshadows aren't super pigmented. I feel like they blend better and look a little more natural. So that's Positivity. Let's see this brown. I want to check out this brown True Self. Let's check that out. It's good because it's kind of it's browner, and it'll go nicely with the other shade. And then we have our black with Fearless. Oh yeah, that's good. I like that. And then we have our shimmers. Let's see how many fingers I have left for this. So we'll do Grateful, which is that like purpley one. And we'll put that here. Ooh, that's cute. And then we have this one, Pretty Kind, which is like a pale pink. Let's see what that's giving. Ooh, that's really, I like that. That's really pretty. And then Que Linda, what a cute name. We will do that. It's like this gold color. Let's see what that looks like. Ooh, yeah, that's juicy. I'm feeling that. Affirmation is this sort of bronzy one. Let's see what it's giving. Very nice. These are really, the shimmers are super nice. And then let's try Confident, which is that like, it's less glittery. It's like this mix between a kind of satin shade and a shimmer. Ooh, okay. I like that. I like that. So far, so good. The mattes don't look super pigmented. Let's see how these bitches perform on the skin. So when I'm doing my all over eyeshadow, I like this brush, Morphe, the Morphe M504. It's nice and fluffy. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put Compassion. I'm gonna start with that one. This is like everyday vibes. I'm running errands. I'm not trying to do the most. And I don't have a ton of time. So I like to go sort of above the crease and move outward. And a lot of my technique, like I was doing eyeshadow is super, super new to me. It's not something that I did until literally maybe like 2 years ago. I never touched an eyeshadow brush. I never practiced it. I think it was just intimidating to me. And I don't know, just seemed like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I just didn't do it. It's not that deep. And so, like I said, with the pandemic, I really started to follow a lot of these beauty influencers on YouTube, and just saw how beautiful like this practice of eyeshadow is. And it's very intimidating in many ways, right? Because you're like putting color on your face and then presenting that to the world. But you just practice, just like with anything else. And I found it to be kind of therapeutic, not just to watch these videos, but then to like engage with this beauty practice on myself and sort of play around with my self-presentation. So as you see, I'm like going sort of inward and out, because this also contours your face. As you see, it's starting to define my nose a little bit and my eye area. So don't be afraid to go all the way up in that bitch. Then you fluff it out all the way out this way. Even like I go all the way because I have a really big face, and there's nothing wrong with that, but giving it a little shading is nice. So I'm gonna just take any kind of other fluffy brush. This is by Real Techniques. It's a medium shadow brush. So I'm gonna go in with that same tone, Compassion. I'm gonna knock off the excess, and I'm just gonna like put a little tiny bit under the eye, because it just sort of helps even things out. And also the more you put under your eye, the more like the bigger your eye looks. So accentuating under your eye will make your eyes look bigger. That's something I learned from watching Danessa Myricks, who's a Black femme beauty creator who I really also love. She does these like Teach Me Tuesday tutorials on Instagram, so I will try to also link her stuff. Okay, so just as a bottom sort of shade, like an overall base shade, I'm finding this to be very, very cute. Now I'm going to hit under my brow with the Positivity, the sort of off-white color. And I haven't done my brows yet. I'm just realizing that. That's also something I do after I put my foundation, like while I wait for everything to sort of melt into my skin. I basically just work on my shadow and brows after I put my foundation in, but I'm doing shadow first and then I'll do brows. It just sort of adds a little something something. If I had more time, I would put some concealer on my lids before putting in this next shade that I'm gonna put in, which will also be Positivity. And I'm gonna lay that directly onto my eyelid. And for that, I like to use a flat brush. So something like this one. This is the Morphe and Makeup by Ariel collab. And so I'm gonna go in with Positivity, and I'm just gonna lay that on my lid. And it just sort of makes it pop a little more. It adds a little gradient. It makes it pop. You see that instant effect that had? That's wild. There's some fallout, but it doesn't really bother me. Okay. Maybe we'll do a little bit more. And then if you had concealer, like this would be like much more white, but I'm actually quite fine with the way it looks right now. Okay, so now I'm just gonna deepen this a tad with another fluffy brush that's slightly smaller, because I'm gonna just kind of focus this on the edge and on the crease. This is a Michaela and Glamlight collab brush from the brush set. I'm gonna go into that darker brown True Self color, and I'm just gonna barely apply this. And I'm gonna go into that outer corner and work it into the crease. And like, also, I don't like to bring the dark colors all the way in. If you keep the darker colors on the outside, it gives you a more open shape. Like if you bring the dark all the way in, it sort of makes your eye look smaller. So that's a trick I learned from Jaclyn Hill, who's a pretty hilarious Floridian beauty influencer who I have also watched. I watch just like a mix of different folks, and I feel like any techniques I have gained, and I by no means consider myself a makeup expert at all, but any techniques I have learned that have, you know, made me feel better about the way that I look and the way that I feel and the way I present, I've sort of put together from watching all these other different femmes just like do their thing and share it on camera. And I've been feeling compelled to do the same and sort of combine it with, you know, some sort of gender studies relatable sort of content. So now we put in our darker one. It's very subtle. It's very subtle. And to sort of blend it back together, I'm going to take the brush that I used with that first shade, the Compassion. I'm going to also barely tap that. I'm going to take off the excess. And now I'm just going to kind of go in just to kind of blend that white, that darker brown, and everything together. Because we want it to look blown out. We want it to look subtle. And also, like, if you don't want it to look subtle and you want it to look a little more sharp, then like you can totally do that too. I'm also taking another aerial brush. This has, I don't use this for application. I use this just for like blending. So now I'm taking this brush with nothing on it, and I'm just going through and like buffing. Cute. Okay, so far so good. Let's add shimmer. Let's do that. Let's do that really quick. I liked the, let's go in with the bronzy one, Affirmation. Let's just do a little bit because I'm literally in jeans and a t-shirt, so I don't want to look kind of off with my casual vibes, but a little glitter never hurt anyone. So I'm putting very little. It's very subtle, but I'm building it up a little bit. And what I like to do, I'll go in with that big brush again just to sort of blend it in. So cute. It's very natural. I'm feeling it so far. I'm feeling the palette. I think it'll do what I need it to do, and we'll see really what's up when we do the black eyeliner. Okay. So I'm going in with Fearless. I'm using this MAC brush. This is the 219S. It's good for sort of smoking out the eye. For this, I actually prefer this other one from Makeup by Ariel that was in my set, but I lost it. It had a finer tip and I totally lost it. So I've been using this as a substitute. There's also a really good pencil brush So I'll clean up that little mess because I'm losing the sharpness of that line, I think, because I'm using the phone instead of a mirror. The Makeup Shack has really great brushes, like overall. And they have a pencil brush that I really like, and I use that one for sort of lighter pencil work. Okay, let's see what's going on here. I don't know if it's not applying great because of the shimmer, but let's try the Mario black and see if we're getting any different results. So I'm gonna go into the Makeup by Mario Neutrals palette and see if there's any difference, because that black didn't really want to sit on my lid. And so I just pull out on the corner as best I can. I don't know. I feel like this is the shimmer. I feel like the shimmer did something weird. And then I'll go into the bottom very lightly. Just again, if you put some on the bottom of your eye, it will make your eye look bigger. So I definitely need to grab a Q-tip and clean up some of that mess. And so yeah, after this, I have a few errands, and then I have to prep syllabus for my classes. I'm doing a graduate class in critical girlhood studies that I've taught before, and also like the usual class in my rotation, which is like our intro to women's studies class called Interdisciplinary Perspectives in Women's Studies. And so, you know, even though you have these preps that you've done before, there's always this way in which you want to incorporate new material, you want to incorporate new approaches, and I find that I need more time in order to get into that creative space, like pedagogically again. Because I do, like, for me, it's easy to think of like material that I want to use, but sometimes it's hard to come up with ideas for like new assignments and new ways of delivering the class. And then I don't know, I think maybe because of the care demands I have with my young son and stuff like that, like I feel like it's just increasingly difficult to get creative pedagogically, and sometimes like try to do something new other than what you've already done, and taking advantage of the fact that you already have the class prepped. But then sometimes I'm like, well, isn't that the idea of having the class prep, is that you don't have to do all this additional labor? So sometimes I wonder if it's like additional pressure that I put on myself to always come up with something new and innovative, and is it okay to sometimes go with what you know works and that students have responded to and really like. But I feel like maybe after a sabbatical or something like that, or having time away, you can sort of come back to the classroom with a little bit more creativity. So that's something I'm trying to figure out right now. I'm gonna go in with my Milani Make It Last setting spray, drugstore vibe, and you can get the jumbo size at a great price at Walmart. So while that is setting, since it's almost like hairspray, that's when I like to curl, because the lashes have a little bit of that that setting spray. So you just hit them up. And I'm going to do my mascara. Here. And this is our finished look. So thank you guys so much for watching. Just to give you an idea of some of the things that I'm teaching in the Critical Girlhood Studies class, we are definitely reading Dr. Ruth Nicole Brown's book, Here Are Truths, The Creative Potential of Black Girlhood. I'm also assigning Dorothy Allison's Bastard Out of Carolina. I've never read that text, and I think it'll be really interesting, especially since I teach in Florida and in the South, to sort of teach about you know, Southern white girlhoods as well, and sort of put that into conversation, and thinking about how girls work through trauma and sexual violence. We're also reading PAPI as another novel in critical girlhood studies. It's a novel by Rita Indiana, who's a novelist and musician from the Dominican Republic. And it's a story centered around a young girl. It's very magical realist, and it's about her father, and the sort of like mythical status that her father has in her own imaginary. And it's very much a story about patriarchy and girlhood, and how girls theorize around patriarchy and sort of organically understand how patriarchy works. So those are the books we're reading, and of course I sprinkle in a lot of other articles and materials. So if you want to hit me up, I'd be happy to share that with y'all. So wishing everyone a good semester, ease into the semester. I hope all of you have really rewarding teaching experiences, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna try to link as much stuff below, both the makeup and some of the text that I mentioned, and some of the influencers and useful videos. As far as the Dominique Essentials palette, I really like the way that the sort of neutral shades performed. I need to see how that black is gonna perform. It didn't perform great. It might be because it was over the shimmer. It might be because I'm doing my makeup on the phone, so we'll see. But so far so good. I really like the neutral tones. So thank y'all for watching. Have a wonderful day.